Good afternoon, my friends, and welcome to our new lesson of Easy English. Today's is the 10th lesson, and today we are going to speak about the simple past. Stay tuned, 1 minute, we'll be back. Hi again, and welcome to my new lesson. In today's lesson, before we start, please, I would like to draw your attention for an important thing. Under each video, we have a link. Click on that link, go to the page, and then you can find explanation of the lesson. You can find exercises and the answers. Please do it and post the result on the channel so we can help each other to learn English faster and easier. Now, let's go straight to our lesson. Simple past. Many people, many students come to me, Mr. I have a problem dealing with the simple past. When do I use simple past? The answer is very simple, but it's not past. First, we have to say that we use simple past for something that happened and finished in a specific time in the past. For example, last year, Emma passed her exam. Now, this is the year. Last year, Emma passed her exam. Specific time, last year. She finished her exam with good marks. Let's have some examples. We went to the theater last Friday. I came to Damascus in 1981. Now, we use the simple past as well with some words like yesterday, last week, at 2 o'clock, in 2003, and words like ago. For example, I went to the cinema yesterday. We visited Syria in 2007. We use it as well with stories. If we are narrating stories, we are telling a story, we use it for stories and list of events, things that happened immediately, one behind the other. So let's have a look here. We went to a cafe, sat down and lit a cigarette. Another one, yesterday I went to the library, met a friend for lunch and played tennis. Now, let's speak about the form of the simple past. What is the form of the simple past? The form of the simple past is very normal, like any other tenses in English. You should start with subject. After the subject, we don't use verb 1, we use verb 2. So subject and verb 2. For example, I went to school yesterday. You studied English last week. Now, there is a small note we have to pay attention to. In English, when we speak about the simple past, we have to pay attention to two kinds of verbs. The first one, regular verbs, and the second one is the irregular verbs. What is the difference between both? First, let's have a look at regular verbs. Regular verbs are the verbs that end usually with ed. For example, work, we just put ed, worked. Clean, cleaned. Start, started. Dance, danced. Stay, stayed. Need, needed. Notice we just add ed to the verb to change it. For example now, Terry worked in a bank from 1996 to 2003. Yesterday it rained all morning. It stopped at lunchtime. Now the second kind of verbs, we call it irregular verbs. And this kind of verbs doesn't end with ed. The whole form of the verb changes. For example, begin, began, break, broke, bring, brought, build, built, buy, bought, catch, caught, come, came, do, did, drink, drank, eat, ate. Let's have some examples. We did a lot of work yesterday. Caroline went to the cinema 3 times last week. And James came into the room, took off his coat and sat down. Now, talking about simple past, we have to pay attention, like the present continuous, for some spelling rules. They are similar in a way. Let's have a look now. The first thing you should know that we usually add IED to the verb when the verb ends in Y, and before the Y we have a consonant. And here we go. I study English. The last letter in the verb study is Y. Before the Y we have D. D is a consonant. So we change the Y into IED. We throw the Y away and we put IED. Another thing we have to pay attention is when the verb ends in Y and before the Y we have a vowel, we just add ED. For example, I play soccer. Play ends in Y. Before the Y we have A. A is a vowel, so I just say I played soccer, so I add just ED, not IED, just ED. Another thing you have to pay attention is that we double the last letter when the verb ends in a consonant, and before it we have one vowel only. She stopped the car in the street. Notice the last verb is P, and P is not a vowel, it's a consonant. Before it we have one vowel, so we double. When the verb ends in E, we just add D. She danced a lot yesterday. Now here we go. As you can see now, we have an exercise. I need you to put this verb in verb 2. For example, last year, simple past, last year, I go to England on holiday. I don't say I go, I say I went. So as usual now, pause the video, change the verbs, and here you go. Are these your answers? Negative. Many people ask how can we make a negative sentence in simple past? The answer is very simple. All you have to do is to use did. So you put did, verb 0. Let's have a look. Usually I have subject, then we have did not, verb 0. Let's have an example here. I didn't have a car. You did not eat my toast. They didn't go home. Notice, always there's an important rule to keep in mind. After do, does, and did, we use verb 0. Now, she went to school. She didn't go to school. He studied English. He didn't study English. Now, here we go for an exercise for the negative. I want you to stop the screen, do the exercise as usual. The first one, we do it together. My father made breakfast last week or last Friday. Now, I want to change this sentence into negative. So I say, my father didn't make breakfast last Friday. Now, you pause the screen, you do the other exercises. And here you go. I hope that your answers were correct. Okay guys, this leads us to the end of our class for today. I hope it was useful and beneficial. Don't forget, please go to the page, subscribe as you can see, and then click on the link. You see, here you have explanation of the lesson, you have exercise, and then you have the answers. So please do it and put the result back on the channel on YouTube. Thank you very much. See you next week. Stay tuned.